Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We did not create mankind or jinn except that they worship me. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah mentions in the Quran the purpose of being in this world. The purpose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to not associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and put us in this earth. And in this earth, we were placed here for what reason? To worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and on the day of judgment, we will be questioned, asked about every single deed we did in this life. Imam An-Nawawi in the introduction, he talks about this life, and he mentions the ayah in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا مَثَلُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا كَمَاءٍ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَاخْتَلَطَ بِهِ نَبَاتُ الْأَرْضِ مِمَّا يَأْكُلُ النَّاسُ وَالْأَنْعَامُ حَتَّى إِذَا أَخَذَتِ الْأَرْضُ زُخْرُفَهَا وَزَّيَّنَتْ وَظَنَّ أَهْلُهَا أَنَّهُمْ قَادِرُونَ عَلَيْهَا أتاها أمرنا ليلا أو نهارا فجعلناها حصيدا كأن لم تغن بالأمس كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يتفكرون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this Quran, and He describes the life of this world, the life of this dunya. He says, verily the likeness of this worldly existence is as the water which we send down from the sky. This water intermingles and produces from the earth, as a result of it, that which men and cattle they eat from. It grows, talking about the crops, it grows until the earth is clad with its adornments and is beautified. Its people think that they have all the powers of disposal over it. Our command reaches it by day or by night, and we render it into a clean mound harvest, as if it had not flourished. Hence we explain the verses in detail for the people who reflect. So this world has temptations. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it has been beautified for the people. Just like you have a garden, and in this garden has so many different trees, crops, vegetation. People, they are admired by this garden. They have all the temptations that they have in this garden. And then once, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His command is that He destroys this garden by day or by night. So what happens to this garden? It comes to an end, just like this world. This hayat, this dunya, is going to come to an end. And all of the temptations that are in this world will come to an end as well. And Imam An-Nawawi also mentions that in this life, for the believer, the purpose or the intention that the believer should have is to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by doing good deeds, a'mal salihah. And to use his time wisely in this world and not to waste a minute in this world. And he describes, he mentions a poem written by somebody. He mentions in the introduction a poem describing the believers. He says, إِنَّ لِلَّهِ عِبَادًا فُطَنًا طَلَّقُوا الدُّنْيَا وَخَافُوا الْفِتَنَا نَظَرُوا فِيهَا فَلَمَّا عَلِمُوا أَنَّهَا لَيْسَتْ لِحَيٍّ وَطَنًا جَعَلُوا فِيهَا لُجَّةً وَاتَّخَذُوا صَالِحَ الْأَعْمَالِ فِيهَا سُفُنًا. Verily for Allah are the intelligent servants, those that use their mind. They abandon the world, for they fear the temptation. In this world, temptations, they come to the believer, but he abandons it. Why? Because he's intelligent, he's wise. He knows that this world is temporary and it will come to an end. So instead, he does good deeds. as the poem goes on to say, they looked upon it. They looked at this world. And when they realized it was not an abode for the one who is alive, the person who is alive, the person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran as somebody who is alive, and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions as the person who is alive is the one who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In a hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he compares the one who does not remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he does not do dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He compares this person to a dead person, somebody who is dead. Even though he's in this world eating, drinking, whatever, this person is dead. And the person who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is alive. So these Saliheen, these righteous people, they realize that this world is not for the one who is alive, the one who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and does good deeds. They abstain from these temptations. So these people, they do virtuous deeds to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this book, Riyadh as-Saliheen, from the aims or the objectives of Imam An-Nawawi is to encourage the Muslims, the believers, to do good deeds. Because in this book, it mentions the virtues of doing good deeds. Many of us Muslims, unfortunately, we pray, we fast, but we do not know the virtues of these good deeds. We do not know the reward for praying. We do not know the reward for fasting. When a person, a Muslim, knows the reward for fasting, knows the reward for doing good deeds, this would act as an encouragement. This will encourage the person. If I know that if I go to the masjid early, there's a reward for it, then it will encourage me to come to the masjid early. Just like other ibadat, other acts of worship, fasting Mondays and Thursdays, the virtues of fasting Mondays and Thursdays. Why did the Prophet ﷺ tell us these virtues? He could have just said, "O Muslims, worship Allah. If you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you don't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to the hellfire." He could have said that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Kareem. He has prepared a mighty reward for those who obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's all about having sabr. In one of the chapters in his book, Imam An-Nawawi, he dedicates a whole chapter to sabr. He talks about sabr. The ahadith and the ayat that talk about sabr, having patience in this world. Also in this book, he has a chapter which we will start today, is the chapter of al-ikhlas, to have sincerity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not okay, it's not sufficient to just do good deeds and that's it. No, you have to have ikhlas, sincerity. And another condition, mutaba'a, which we will mention inshallah as we go along inshallah. Now to begin with a short biography of Imam An-Nawawi, the author of this book, then he is known as Yahya ibn Sharaf. His name is Yahya ibn Sharaf. And his kunya, he was also known as Abu Zakaria. However, Imam An-Nawawi, he did not have any children. He did not have a son, Zakaria, but this was just a kunya, just a name given to him. In those days, like Sahaba, for example, some of the Sahaba, they had names, Abu Huraira, etc. It doesn't mean that they are the father of this person, it's just a name. So his name is Abu Zakaria, and he did not have any children. Rather, he dedicated his life for the sake of talib al-ilm, seeking knowledge and teaching the people. So he did not get married. And he's also known as Muhyiddin, the reviver of the deen. Somebody who revives the deen. He was given this name for the tremendous works that he did for Islam. The books that he has written, which we will mention some of the books that he has written. Subhanallah, tremendous books. The Muslimin benefited from these books tremendously. So this is why he was given this name, Muhyiddin, somebody who revived the deen. But he himself did not like this name. From his tawadhu, from his humbleness. This is the way of the ulama. They were very humble. So these titles as Muhyiddin or Shaykh al-Islam, for example, they did not like these names out of their humbleness. They didn't want to be known as Muhyiddin, etc. Imam An-Nawawi, rahimahullah, he was born in Damascus, in Syria, okay, in a town called Nawa, which his name An-Nawawi comes from. So he was born in the area called Nawa, and his name comes from this area, An-Nawawi, okay. And he was upon the madhab of Imam Al-Shafi'i. He studied the Imam Shafi'i's madhab until he became a mujtahid in this madhab. Ever since he was young, Imam An-Nawawi, his father who raised him and looked after him, he was very concerned about his talab al-ilm. He was very ambitious, his father. He wanted his son to become a scholar. So he made sure that he studied from a very young age. And Imam An-Nawawi, he memorized the Quran at the age of 9. Very young. And his father would take him to different schools, madrasa. Okay? And there's one particular madrasa which Imam An-Nawawi, he studied at, called Madrasa Al-Rawahiyya in Damascus. At the age of 19 is when he started attending this madrasa. And he would attend 12 different lessons a day. 12 different lessons a day in different types of different sciences, usul al-fiqh, lugha, until he became an alim, a scholar. And there are books that Imam An-Nawawi has memorized as well. Big books. One particular book he memorized is At-Tanbih fi Furu' al-Shafi'iyya, which was authored by Abu Ishaq al-Shirazi. This was a very big book. Okay, and Imam An-Nawawi, he memorized this book in 4.5 months. From his dedication, he memorized this big book in a short space of time. And Imam An-Nawawi, he was known for his zuhd, asceticism. He was known for his zuhd. Somebody who leaves off the temptations of the dunya. He would only eat and drink that which is sufficient. His clothing as well, he didn't wear any type of glamorous clothing, just like the Sahaba. They lived a very simple life, the ulama. They left everything, the dunya, for the sake of talab al-ilm, to seek knowledge. And he was known as a very pious scholar, somebody who acted upon his knowledge. And the people, they loved him so much. An alim who benefits the people with his knowledge and also acts upon his knowledge is loved by the people. So this is the character of Imam An-Nawawi. He was generous in terms of giving charity to the people. And even though money was offered to him, ulama in those days, for example, the sultan, the ruler, some of the rulers, they would try to tempt the ulama in those days by giving them a lot of money so that they can come closer to the ruler, etc. But Imam An-Nawawi, he would refuse the money and he would do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's not that he was poor because he had no other alternative. No, money was given to him. Money was offered to him, but he refused it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the brief biography of Imam An-Nawawi and some of the works that he has done, the books that he's written. One of these books is this book that we are doing today, Riyadh as-Saliheen, and also he has another tremendous book, amazing book, the Sharh of Sahih Muslim. He done explanation of Sahih Muslim, the authentic ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And also he authored the book Al-Arba'un An-Nawawiyya, or Al-Arba'in An-Nawawiyya, the 40 ahadith of Imam An-Nawawi. And this book is a very important book. It mentions the fundamental things in our religion, in our deen, 40 ahadith. And he also did a sharh of Sahih al-Bukhari and other books. Now to begin, inshallah, we will start this book, Riyadh as-Saliheen, and the book that I will reference, I will use in this explanation is the explanation of Al-Shaykh Al-Uthaymin, Muhammad ibn Salih Al-Uthaymin. So, Uthaymin's book is around 7 to 8 volumes. So, I have it with me in front of me. There will be times where I will pause because there are some kalam of Uthaymin. He goes into depth a lot. And because we only have 4 weeks, 4 lessons, we will not take everything that the Shaykh talks about. He mentions a lot of fawaid, a lot of benefits in this book, but unfortunately due to time we cannot go through everything. So we will go through the book in a summarized way, inshallah. So bismillah, to start off, Imam An-Nawawi, the first chapter of this book, he starts off with Al-Ikhlas, and he talks about An-Niyyah, the intention. And he starts off with the ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ حُنَفَاءَ وَيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمَةِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, they were commanded not but that they should worship Allah and worship none but Him alone, and perform the prayer and give Him charity. For that is the correct religion. So this is the first ayah that Imam An-Nawawi talks about. He discusses this ayah and he talks about the niyyah, al-ikhlas. And he mentions that an-niyyah is in the heart. The intention is in the heart. Nobody can ever know another person's intention. Why? Because the intention is in the heart. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in the hearts. And also Al-Imam An-Nawawi, he mentions the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. That indeed the actions, the good deeds, are but by intentions. If a person wants to do a good deed, then he is judged by his intention, which we will mention in a bit, inshallah. But before we mention that, we'll talk about an-niyyah. Okay, an-niyyah and the meaning of it. An-niyyah in the English language, intention. And as you all know, if a person was to do any action, whether sleeping or eating, is always done by an intention. If a person goes to sleep, why? It's because he's tired and he wants to get more energy. Okay, if a person wants to eat, likewise, he has the intention to get more energy by eating. And there are 3 conditions of an-niyyah. The first one is to perform the action. If a person has to perform an act of worship, something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, ibadah. If a person performs an act of worship, which is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves and is pleased with. To perform an act of worship. The second condition is to do it sincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nobody else. And the third condition is founded upon obedience and conformity to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came and he taught us our religion. He taught us everything that we need to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you find many Muslims that do good deeds and they have the right intention. They have ikhlas, mashallah. They want to do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, they do not fulfill the second condition of the acceptance of good deeds. The second condition is al-mutaba'ah, to follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's not sufficient to have ikhlas only. A person can do a good deed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but have this deed rejected. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can reject this deed, even though he's doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because he did not fulfill the second condition, which is al-mutaba'ah, following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prayed, we pray. How the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam fasted, we fast. So there's mutaba'ah, following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And likewise, following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam alone is not sufficient. If a person follows the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and prays, he prays just like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prays. He fasts just like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam fasts. However, he does not have the intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise, his deed will be rejected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the two pillars of a'mal, actions. First one is intention, to have sincerity for Allah. And the second one is mutaba'ah, following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And as we mentioned, an-niyyah, the intention, is in the heart. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows if a person is sincere or not. Many people you find, they come to the masjid, okay, and even in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you had people known as munafiqeen, people who showed the people that they were believers, believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they were Muslims. However, in their hearts, they concealed in their hearts kufr, disbelief. So this is what a munafiq is. Somebody who shows to the people that he believes in Allah, and he even does good deeds, but inside his heart there is kufr, disbelief. He doesn't do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the intention is in the heart. The niyyah is in the heart. And only on the day of judgment will the people be exposed for their fraud. This is fraud. They're doing it in front of the people, doing these good deeds, but on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose these people. And it is not for us in this world to expose people what's in their hearts, because we do not know what's in their hearts. You might see a person, okay, that apparently, what's apparent from what we can see, he might be somebody who, for example, doesn't come to the masjid often, or he might be even a person who smokes cigarettes. Okay, these people, we do not judge them, and we don't say these people are destined for the hellfire, because we don't know what's in their hearts. Behind closed doors, there is something called the person, a human being, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, al-insan, it was created ضعيف. A person, a human being, was created weak. So you have people that are weaker than others, weak iman. Okay? Human beings are generally weak. So there are people that give in to their desires. They might give in to their desires. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we do not know if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have mercy on them. Why? Because of their sincerity. They want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, they want to go to Jannah, but because of their temptations and that they're weak, they give in to their nafs. And as long as they repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive them. As we will mention in Bab al-Tawbah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He forgives all sins. As long as the person repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with sincere repentance, and we'll mention the conditions of repentance inshallah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him. So we do not know what's in the hearts of people. They could be sincere. They could be sincere. Likewise, for people that we see on the street, or people who come to the masjid, mashallah, big beard, okay, thobe, everything, but this person could be hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Behind closed doors, we don't know what he does. We don't know what's in his heart. Okay, so we should not judge people by what's apparent. Who said everybody who has a beard will go to Jannah? Who said everybody who comes to the masjid every day to pray is going to Jannah? No, we don't know. In fact, the hadith of Prophet ﷺ, he mentions the first 3 people from this ummah that will be thrown into the hellfire are who? The alim, the scholar, the person who, subhanAllah, sacrificed his life for the sake of seeking knowledge and giving knowledge to the people. This alim will be thrown into the hellfire. Why? Because of his intention. He didn't do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He only did it so that the people can say, look, he's a scholar, look at him, mashallah, tabarakallah. His knowledge, start praising. He was the praise of the people. So this person will be thrown into the hellfire. He will be thrown into the hellfire. Even though what's apparent, we see that this person, mashallah, he's got ilm, hafid Quran, memorized books, but he could be from the people of the hellfire. Likewise, the second person, somebody who gives charity, who's generous, always gives charity. You see him, giving so much charity to poor people. Even some people, subhanAllah, they build masajid. You think that, subhanAllah, look at this is a good deed. By building a masjid is one of the best deeds, la shak. Man bana lillahi masjidan, bana Allahu lahu baytan fil jannah. Whoever builds a house for Allah, Allah will build a house for him in Jannah. But a person who builds a house or a masjid for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this person, it could be from the hellfire. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in the Quran, Masjid al-Dhirar. You all know the story, the munafiqeen. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they built a masjid. But this masjid was called Masjid al-Dhirar. Why? Because the intention behind building this masjid was not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it was for the sake of disuniting the Muslims. So that the Muslims can come to this masjid rather than the masjid of Allah, masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. So these people, munafiqeen, they were jealous that the Muslims were going to the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ seeking knowledge. So they built this masjid so that they can bring the people to this masjid. And there's other reasons, the ulama, they mentioned why they built this masjid as well. But my point is, somebody even building a masjid, you don't know for what intention this person is building this masjid. So the intention is in the heart, nobody knows. And on the day of judgment, that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose these people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يَوْمَ تُبْلَى السَّرَائِرِ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ وَلَا نَاصِرٍ. The day when all the secrets will be revealed and it will be examined. All the secrets that the people have kept secret in their hearts. On the day of judgment, it will be exposed for everybody to see. The alim, for example, or the generous person giving charity, or the shaheed, the person who dies in the battlefield. These 3 people, as mentioned in the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith, these people who will be thrown into the hellfire, on the day of judgment, they will be exposed. They will be told, to go to hellfire. And on the Day of Judgment, subhanAllah, we will see this person who everybody thought he was a scholar who dedicated his life for the sake of spreading Islam, or this person who built masajid, giving charity to poor people, or this person fighting for the sake of Allah, or for the sake of who knows what. We thought these people were doing good deeds, but no, the intention is in the heart, the niyyah is in the heart. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows why these people did these good deeds. So there are good deeds, there are actually bad deeds. If a person doesn't have the right intention, these deeds will be a reason why this person will be in the hellfire. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he also mentioned in a hadith, أخوف ما أخاف عليكم الشرك الأصغر. The most thing that I fear for you is الشرك الأصغر, a minor sin, a minor shirk, minor association of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the number one thing that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam fears for this ummah the most. And what is this shirk al-asghar? The Sahaba, they asked the Prophet ﷺ, what is the shirk al-asghar? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, al-riya, showing off. This is the thing that the Prophet ﷺ, he feared for this ummah. Showing off in front of people. If a person comes to the masjid, when he is by himself, he prays normally, but in front of the people, he prolongs the salah. Or if a person starts crying in front of the people, just so that the people can say, look, mashallah, he's righteous. Subhanallah. And he's dangerous. The nafs, the human being, is from our human nature to love praise. We love when people say to us, oh, you're such a nice person, you're such a good person. You know, we love that. That's what most people seek. Except for the believer. The believer doesn't want to be praised by the people. As we mentioned by Imam An-Nawawi, he hated the name Muhyiddin. Don't call me Muhyiddin, the reviver of the deen. No, he didn't like that. He didn't want to be known as somebody who revived the deen. He just wanted to be known, khalas, just like any other Muslim. Whereas the non-Muslims, the kuffar, celebrities, all of these people, rich people, millionaires, they want to show everybody, look. They want everybody to have their eyes upon them. They want the people to say, look at me, look at me. I've got this, I've got that. They want to be praised, they love it. But the believer doesn't like this praise, he doesn't want to be praised. So this is what the Prophet ﷺ, he feared for this ummah. Ash-shirk al-asghar, showing off. And in the hadith of Prophet ﷺ, he mentions, hadith Qudsi, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, أنا أغنى الشركاء عن الشرك من عمل عملا أشرك فيه معي غيري تركته وشركه. Verily Allah said, I am in no need of associating others with me and their deeds. So whoever performs an action associating in it other than me, I have abandoned him and his deeds. If a person does it for the sake of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reject his deeds. أنا أغنى الشركاء عن الشرك. I don't need these people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I don't need these people to do good deeds for me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala huwa al-ghani. It is us who need to do good deeds to get Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy in the hereafter. And my dear brothers, there's different types of riya. Okay, there's different types of mura'un. People who show off. People who do not have the correct intention in a'mal. You have people that all they do is riya, show off. And they don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or in the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all of their actions, all of their deeds, is founded upon Riyadh, showing off. And these are the munafiqeen. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they will not come to the masjid except so that the Muslims can see them. Otherwise, they wouldn't pray at all. If a person, all he does is deeds so that the people can see him, this is what you call a munafiq. إن المنافقين في الدرك الأسفل من النار. The munafiqeen, the hypocrites, they will be in the bottom of hellfire, the lowest part of hellfire, worse than the kuffar. The kuffar, the non-believers, even in time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Quraysh, they did not hide anything. They did not hide the hatred for the Prophet ﷺ. They said to the Prophet ﷺ, you are a liar, we do not believe in you, stay away from us. They were apparent in their kufr, their disbelief. So we know that these people, they're the enemies of Islam. The kuffar who wage war upon Islam, the Quraysh in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they were enemies of Islam waging war against the Muslims. We know that they're their enemies. However, the munafiqeen, they're hidden. We don't know. We think that they're with us. When in the battles of the Prophet ﷺ, some of the munafiqeen, they will go out with the Muslims. They will go out with the Muslims. But when it gets severe, the battle gets severe, and people start dying, okay, that's when we realize who's the believer and who's the munafiq. The munafiqeen, what do? They run away. How many times in the battles of the Prophet ﷺ, they run away? SubhanAllah. So what's apparent from these munafiqeen is belief. We think that they're Muslims, but deep down in their hearts, kuffar. They don't believe in Allah aslan. They don't believe in Jannah, anything. They're just doing it for the sake of the people. And when did these munafiqeen come about? They came about when the Muslims started to have power in the land. During the Meccan period, there was no such thing as munafiq. During the Meccan period, the early years of Islam, there was no such thing as hypocrite. They were only believers. Why? Because in the time of the early periods of Islam, the Muslims, the believers, they were persecuted by the Quraysh, the non-Muslims, the kuffar. If you're a Muslim, they will grab you, torture you, and try and kill you. So nobody in those days, in their right mind, will say, I'm a believer, I'm a Muslim, but doesn't believe in their hearts. No. If you're a believer, and you really believe in it, you will say it with your tongue and your heart. So that's why the Sahaba, Muhajirun, they were praised a lot by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though they were subject to torture, they were threatened, and they were even being tortured. Like Bilal radiallahu anhu, he was tortured for the sake of Islam. The Sahaba, they were tortured for the sake of Islam. So we know they're the believers. So there was no munafiqeen in these times, and when they came about, it was after when the Muslims, they made hijrah to Medina. And the Muslims, khalas, they had land now. They had authority, they had power. They had weapons. That's when the munafiqeen, they started saying, yes, we're with you, come, I'm with you. So they showed the Muslims that we're with you, we believe we're Muslims. So when it's time for battle, and the Muslims, they come back from war, or they win the battle, and they get all the war booty, the munafiqeen, they come along, yes, we was with you, to take all of the things. So they do it for the sake of the dunya, and for the praise of the people. So this is the munafiq, first type of murai. But you have second type, a person who's mukhlis, he has sincerity. Okay, the average Muslim, he has sincerity. However, because as I mentioned, the human nature, our human nature, we love praise and stuff like that. There are some times where this mukhlis, the sincere person, is tempted. Okay, he's tempted to show off to other people. A person who memorized the Quran, for example. He tells the people, I'm Hafiz Quran. Instead of keeping it a secret, not telling people, he says, I'm Hafiz Quran. Why? Because so that he can get some sort of praise. But he in himself, he is sincere in terms of other ibadat. He prays for the sake of Allah, he believes in Allah, he does good deeds for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he gives in to his temptations sometimes. Okay? And for salah, for example, if a person is mukhlis, sincere, but when he comes to the masjid, he sees other people, or he sees somebody who he loves very much, or he respects a lot, or his sheikh, for example, he sees him in the masjid, so he starts praying along, just so that the sheikh can see. This is riya, la shak, this is riya, showing off. However, this person is not mura'i, he's not somebody who is showing off all the time, he's not munafiq. Just this ibadah, this act of worship, he showed off. What is the hukum of this ibadah? It's rejected. If a person prays and other people are watching him and he prolongs the salah so that he can be praised, this ibadah, this salah that he performed, Allah will not accept it. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the evidence. أَنَا أَغْنَى الشُّرَكَاءِ عَنِ الشِّرْكِ. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am in no need of people associating partners with me. So this amal, this act of worship will be rejected. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept this amal. The third type is somebody who has that temptation. He sees somebody who loves his shaykh, and the shaitan, he whispers to him, prolong your salah, he's looking at you, he's looking at you. He does have that temptation, but he fights his nafs. He battles his nafs. This is the mukhlis, the sincere person. Even if he has this temptation, he fights his nafs. He says, no, I'm doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't listen to shaitan. So it's very important for the believer, whenever the shaitan whispers to you and says to you, look, that person is looking at you, prolong your salah, or cry a bit, or do this, or do that, so that you can be praised. The person, he should seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he should continue this ibadah. He shouldn't just cut the salah as some people they do. They say, they stop the salah and they say, I don't want to do this act of worship because so and so is looking at me, I don't want to be praised. No. They have to battle their nafs. They have to fight their nafs. Fight their nafs and make your intention sincerely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and continue the ibadah. Continue the ibadah. And some ulama, they say if a person does leave the amal, he could also be falling into riyah. If a person leaves the amal, he could be falling into riyah, showing off. How? The people will think to him, look, mashallah, he's humble. He doesn't want to be praised. Look, he doesn't want to be praised by the people. So they will praise him for being humble. Subhanallah. So why? So what should the person do? He should battle himself, fight the shaitan. There's no other way. There's no other way of going about it. So you should fight the nafs. And the first type of people, the munafiqeen, which we mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about them in the Quran. Allah says, وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالًا يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسِ. When they stand up for salah, they stand with laziness and to be seen by the people. يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسِ. They want to be seen by the people. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about these munafiqeen. Every time they get up for salah, it's only so that the people can see them and praise them. So if a person has or gets whispers from the shaitan and tells him to avoid doing this act of worship, he should battle his nafs. And the basis of the deed should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He should correct his intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if the shaitan tries to dissuade him. Shaykh Uthaymeen, as I mentioned in the beginning, he goes into a lot of depth. He discusses the ahadith and the ayat a lot. So we will mention now some of the sayings of the ulama about ikhlas, about sincerity. And in particular, this hadith, which is the first hadith mentioned in Riyadh as-Saliheen, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. This hadith, Imam Al-Shafi'i, he said about this hadith, this tradition or this hadith is a third of all knowledge. It enters into 70 branches of fiqh. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ is a third of knowledge. We will speak about this hadith in a minute. But it's a third of knowledge. Every type of ibadah needs to be done with sincerity, with the correct intention. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. And Sufyan al-Thawri, he mentions about fighting the nafs. When we mention about riyah, it's difficult. If the shaitan whispers to a person, it's difficult to abstain, because why? Our human nature, we want the praise. Sufyan al-Thawri, he says, I did not cure anything, any matter, greater in severity upon me than my intention. For it always changes upon me. يَتَقَلَّبُ عَلَيْهِ. This niyyah, this intention. Sufyan al-Thawri, he says, this is the hardest thing I've ever tried to correct. Correcting the intention is the hardest thing that this scholar, Sufyan al-Thawri, it's the hardest thing that he's ever done. Why? Because فَإِنَّهَا يَتَقَلَّبُ عَلَيْهِ. It's always changing. The intention always changes. Our iman, from the aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we believe that the iman yazid wa yanqus. The iman increases and it decreases. So there are times when our iman is very high and we do the good deeds for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our iman, khalas, our iman is high. But there are times also when our iman is very low. And that's when we give into temptations. We give into the shaitan. So when the shaitan does whisper to us to do bad deeds or to corrupt our intentions, that's when we give in. Why? Because the iman is low. But the believer should always try to increase his iman. Okay? فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. It's very important for us as Muslims, believers, to always remind themselves of why they are here in this world, why you are doing this deed. Every day, Umar ibn Khattab, before he used to go to sleep, he used to hold himself to account. Whatever he did during the day, he would think about it. So that the next day, what he didn't do, he would try and do. He would hold himself accountable for each day. So the believer always needs to find ways to increase his iman. Because when it does go low, it's dangerous. Especially in the society that we're living in, this country, where there's fitna everywhere. If you go out of your house, you see fitna. Inside the house, there's fitna with these TVs, social media. It's fitna everywhere. So it's very important for the believer, Muslim, to always remind himself of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the reward in the hereafter, Jannah, Nar, why you are doing these things that you are doing, the good deeds that you do. Is it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that you can get the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His mercy? Or is it for the sake of praise? So we should always question ourselves, and this is the way of the ulama. And even though it is difficult, Sufyan al-Thawri, It's nothing more difficult than correcting the niyyah. And Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he mentions as well, he says, perhaps a deed is small in quantity or size, but is elevated in rank by the intention. And perhaps a deed is great in quantity or size, but is demoted in rank by the intention. It's possible for a person to do a small deed, okay, smiling in the face of your brother, for example. This is considered something small, okay? But if a person corrects the intention behind doing this, the reward can be enormous. It could be great. For example, if a person knows that his brother is upset, or if his his iman is low, so he goes up to him, smiles, shakes his hand, says, "Kif halik, how are you?" Shows him good character to boost his morale or to make him happy. This intention, making your brother happy for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you get tremendous reward. Look at the intention. If you have the intention to make your brother happy by smiling in his face, you will get tremendous reward. How many times when people, they say, "Subhanallah, this smile that I saw changed my behavior, changed the way I felt. It made my day." Just the character of people. If you see somebody for the first time, wallahi, I've seen this myself. Brothers that I see, I've never met in my life. But if you see him, mashallah, big smile in his face, "Assalamu alaikum, how are you?" this and that. Wallahi, it puts a smile in your face. It makes you happy. The fact that you met that person, it makes you happy. Just the way he dealt with you, just the way his character is. So if you have the intention, okay, for making your Muslim brother happy, you get the reward, tremendous reward for it. Also, in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he spoke about iman. Okay, and iman, faith, is different levels. Different levels. A'laha, la ilaha illallah, to say la ilaha illallah, and to believe in Allah, and to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with ikhlas, etc., etc., to obey Allah. And the lowest level of iman is to remove a harmful thing from the street. If a person wants to remove something from the street, a harmful object, for example, with what intention? When he sees something harmful in the street, he says to himself, "Subhanallah, my Muslim brother, he could get into an accident." Or an innocent human being, even though he's not Muslim, an innocent human being is driving down the street and he could have a crash by this object, because of this object. So what am I going to do? I'm going to move this object. Look at the intention. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about saving lives in the Quran. مَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. Whoever saves a life is as if he saved the whole of humanity. So if I remove something harmful from the street with the intention to save a person's life, look at that, subhanAllah, the enormous reward that you get. And in the opposite as well, if a person does a huge deed, a big deed, okay, a person does a big deed, however his intention is not accordingly. His intention is for the sake of Allah, however he didn't use his intelligence or his wisdom to try and get more reward. And the ulama, there's a saying that an-niyya tijaratul ulama. The intention is business, tijara of the ulama. Business, buying and selling. You know, the ulama, they're very smart, they're very intelligent. When it comes to correcting the intention, they want to get the best possible reward they can get. So the ulama, they will have the intention when a person sleeps, why do we sleep? Most of the time we sleep because we're tired or whatever. We don't have the correct intention. But the alim, who's intelligent and wise, he will make his intention so that he can wake up for Fajr. He can have energy for Fajr. Or he sleeps early after Isha so that he can wake up energized for Qiyam al-Layl. So the intention he makes for sleeping is so that he can do ibadah. Even for eating, the ulama, they're very smart. When they eat, they correct their intention. Why do I eat? It's so that I can have energy for ibadah. Why do I eat? So that I can have strength and have khushu' for salah. When you're hungry, you don't have khushu'. But I'm correcting my niyyah, my intention, so that I can have khushu' for my salah. So you will get rewarded for this deed, for sleeping. SubhanAllah, whoever thought that there would be reward, ajr, for sleeping? Who would have thought there would be reward, ajr, for eating? There is reward if a person corrects his intention. And intentions, my dear brothers, are divided into two types. You have a person who intends by doing good deeds to get the reward in the akhirah, to get the reward in paradise. And the other type is to get the reward in this world. So you have the reward of the akhirah, the hereafter, and the reward of this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, مَنْ كَانَ يُرِيدُ الْعَاجِلَةَ عَجَّلْنَا لَهُ فِيهَا مَا نَشَاءُ لِمَنْ نُرِيدُ. Whosoever wishes for the quick passing, we confer upon him what we decree for whom we would like. Whoever hopes for this dunya, the reward of this dunya, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says quick passing, something that is going to finish quickly. مَنْ كَانَ يُرِيدُ الْعَاجِلَةَ. Whoever wants something that is going to pass quickly, then Allah will give him what he wants. If a person wants praise in this world, Allah will give it to him. If a person wants wealth in this world by doing good deeds, then Allah will give it to him. مَا نَشَاءُ لِمَنْ نُرِيدُ. وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ وَسَعَى لَهَا سَعْيَهَا وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ فَأُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ سَعْيُهُمْ مَشْكُورًا. وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ. Whosoever desires the hereafter and strives for it with effort while he is a believer, then such are the ones whose striving shall be appreciated and rewarded. So whoever does it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the reward, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ash-shakur. He is the one who appreciates. And in the hereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them the reward. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. We're supposed to finish here, but if you'd like me to continue, I'll have no problem. Otherwise, we can, inshallah, read Quran or make dua before iftar, inshallah. جزاكم الله خيرا.